Imagine for a moment that love is not something you give or take, but something you are, a boundless energy flowing through you, much like sunlight streaming through an open window. In this radiant state, love isn't confined by walls of fear or the illusion of separation. It simply exists, uniting all that it touches. Today, as we explore the theme of radiating love, we'll unravel the idea that love is the very fabric of existence. It's not bound by time, space, or even the self. To truly radiate love, we must let go of control, embrace vulnerability, and see ourselves reflected in everyone we meet. Love, after all, is not a destination or a goal, but a natural rhythm, a dance that reminds us of our connection to the infinite. Let us embark on this journey together, peeling back the layers of our hearts to reveal the light within, so we may illuminate the world around us. Imagine for a moment that love is not something you give or take, but something you are, a boundless energy flowing through you, much like sunlight streaming through an open window. In this radiant state, love isn't confined by walls of fear, doubt, or the illusion of separation. It simply exists, uniting all that it touches, dissolving barriers, and creating harmony in its wake. Love, in its truest form, is not a transaction or a condition. It is a force as fundamental to life as the air we breathe, always present, always available, and always seeking expression. Today, as we explore the theme of radiating love, let us begin with the question, what does it mean to radiate love? At its core, radiating love is not about grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It is about embodying love so completely that it emanates from you effortlessly, touching others without needing acknowledgement or reciprocation. It is about recognizing that love is not something external, not something to be earned or granted. Instead, it arises naturally when we align ourselves with the flow of life, when we let go of the illusions that separate us and remember that we are part of a greater whole. Consider for a moment the way the sun shines. It does not choose where its light falls, it does not hold back, nor does it demand anything in return. It simply radiates because that is its nature. In the same way, when we understand that love is our nature, it becomes impossible to contain. It flows outward, effortlessly, illuminating not only our own lives, but the lives of everyone around us. This is not to say that radiating love is always easy. Life can be challenging, filled with moments of pain, fear, and uncertainty. But even in those moments, love is not absent. It is simply waiting for us to clear the clouds of our minds and hearts, to let it shine through. To radiate love is to embrace vulnerability. It is to open yourself to the possibility of being hurt, knowing that true strength lies in that openness. It is to give without the expectation of receiving, to see others not as separate beings, but as reflections of yourself. When you realize that the barriers between you and me are illusions, love becomes inevitable. It is no longer a choice, but a natural state of being, as inseparable from you as the waves are from the ocean. This idea of connection lies at the heart of radiating love. We are not isolated islands, but threads in a vast, intricate web of existence. Every act of love, no matter how small, sends ripples through that web, touching lives in ways we may never see or understand. When we radiate love, we align ourselves with the rhythm of the universe, becoming participants in a cosmic dance that has no end. Let us embark on this journey together, peeling back the layers of fear, doubt, and separation to reveal the light within. And as that light begins to shine, let us illuminate the world not with effort or force, but simply by being what we already are, love itself. Love in its purest form is like water flowing freely through a river. It moves naturally, finding its way through every crevice, nourishing everything it touches, without clinging to any particular spot. This idea of love without grasping is simple yet profoundly transformative. It asks us to approach love not as something to own or control, but as something to experience and let flow through us. Grasping, in love, often stems from a deep-seated fear of loss, fear of inadequacy, or fear of being alone. But when love is tethered by fear, it becomes constricted, losing its vitality and freedom. To love without grasping is to let love breathe. It means allowing the people we love to be fully themselves without trying to shape them into what we think they should be. It means recognizing that true love is not about possession or permanence, but about presence. It exists most vibrantly when we stop trying to hold on to it, understanding instead that love is a state of being, not a thing we can own. When we grasp at love, we often turn it into something transactional, something based on conditions or expectations. But love thrives in openness. It grows when it is given freely, without strings attached, and when it is received with the same openness. Consider the beauty of the sky at sunset. We do not try to capture it or keep it from fading, we simply marvel at its colors, knowing that its beauty lies in its fleeting nature. Love, too, is beautiful because it is alive and dynamic, constantly shifting and evolving. To grasp at love is to deny its nature, to try to freeze it in a moment that can never last. But to love without grasping is to trust in the flow of life, to allow love to unfold as it will, without interference. This does not mean love is passive or indifferent. On the contrary, love without grasping is deeply engaged and attentive. It means being present with the people we care about, cherishing our moments together without trying to control what those moments should look like. It means accepting that love may change or even fade, but that its impermanence does not diminish its value. Instead, it makes every moment of love more precious. To love without grasping is also to love ourselves with the same freedom and compassion. Often we hold ourselves to impossible standards, grasping at ideals of who we think we should be. But when we let go of that need for control, we allow ourselves to simply be, and in doing so, we become more capable of sharing love with others. Ultimately, love without grasping is an act of trust in ourselves, in others, and in the flow of life. It is a recognition that love is not diminished by its transience, but enriched by it. And when we love this way, we discover that love is not something we need to hold on to, for it was never something to be possessed in the first place. Love, when freed from grasping, radiates boundlessly, touching everything and everyone it encounters. Love, at its essence, is a rhythm, a dance of giving and receiving. Like the tides of the ocean, it flows in and out, creating a balance that sustains and nurtures. In this dance, giving and receiving are not opposites, but two aspects of the same movement. One cannot exist without the other. To truly love is to embrace this balance, to understand that giving and receiving are intertwined in a dynamic exchange that enriches both the giver and the receiver. When we give love, we often think of it as a one-way act, a pouring out of ourselves towards someone else. Yet, in the act of giving, something beautiful happens. We are simultaneously filled. To give love freely, without expectation, is to tap into an endless wellspring within ourselves. It is in the act of giving that we often discover the depth of our own capacity to love. The joy of seeing another person uplifted, comforted, or inspired by our love reflects back to us, reminding us of the infinite nature of love itself. On the other hand, receiving love is an act of openness and trust. It requires vulnerability, a willingness to let others see us as we are, and to accept their love without fear or doubt. For many, receiving can feel more challenging than giving. We may worry that accepting love makes us weak or dependent, or we may doubt our worthiness to receive it. But to truly engage in the dance of love, we must learn to receive as freely as we give. In receiving, we allow others the joy of giving, completing the circle and deepening the connection. This balance of giving and receiving can be seen in the natural world. The trees give oxygen, and in turn they receive carbon dioxide from us. The rain gives life to the earth, and the earth gives back in the form of rivers, plants, and nourishment. Everything exists in a state of mutual exchange, a flow that sustains the whole. Love, too, thrives in this balance. When we give without allowing ourselves to receive, we risk depletion, losing touch with the joy and abundance of love. When we receive without giving, we risk stagnation, missing the opportunity to share and expand the love we've been given. In relationships, this dance requires attentiveness and harmony. It asks us to listen deeply, to understand when it is time to offer our love and when it is time to accept love in return. Sometimes giving love means offering a kind word, a warm embrace, or an act of service. Other times it means stepping back and allowing the other person to give, creating space for their love to flow toward us. The beauty of this dance is that it is never static. It evolves with every step, every interaction, every moment of connection. When we embrace the dance of giving and receiving, we step into a flow that transcends ego and self-interest. We become part of something greater, a rhythm that unites us with others and with the world around us. In this dance, love becomes limitless, a boundless energy that moves through us and radiates out to all we touch. Love, at its core, flourishes in the present moment. It is not bound by the weight of the past or the uncertainties of the future. To truly love, we must learn the art of being present, a state of full attention, openness, and acceptance of the here and now. In this presence, love transforms from an abstract ideal into a lived experience, a connection that transcends words and resides in the depth of shared moments. Being present in love begins with the act of truly seeing and hearing another person. It is easy to fall into the routine of our lives, where conversations become surface-level exchanges and time together becomes a blur of distractions. But love asks us to pause, to bring our full awareness to the person in front of us, and to engage not just with their words but with their essence. To be present in love is to notice the small things, the tone of their voice, the emotions behind their eyes, the unspoken needs and joys they carry. It is to hold space for them, allowing them to feel seen, heard, and valued without judgment or expectation. This presence is not limited to our interactions with others, it begins with ourselves. Often our minds are caught up in a swirl of thoughts, regrets from the past, anxieties about the future, or a constant stream of distractions. In this state, we are disconnected, unable to fully experience or offer love. The art of being present requires us to ground ourselves, to let go of the mental noise, and to return to the simplicity of the moment. Through mindfulness, meditation, or simply pausing to breathe deeply, we create space within ourselves for love to arise naturally. In love, being present also means embracing impermanence. Every moment we share with someone is unique, fleeting, and irreplaceable. When we cling to the past or worry about what lies ahead, we miss the beauty of what is happening right now. The touch of a hand, the sound of laughter, or the comfort of silence shared together, these are the moments where love is most alive. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we allow love to unfold without trying to control or grasp at it. Presence in love also means accepting imperfections, both in ourselves and in others. It is easy to get caught up in ideals of what love should look like, but these expectations can create barriers. True presence is an act of surrender, a willingness to embrace love as it is, in all its messiness and unpredictability. When we are present, we stop trying to fix or perfect instead. We simply experience and honor the connection as it is. The art of being present in love is a practice, one that requires patience, awareness, and intention. But in this practice, we discover a depth of connection that cannot be achieved through mere words or actions. We experience love as a living, breathing force, something that exists not in the abstract, but in the quiet, profound reality of the present moment. When we are truly present, love becomes not just something we do, but something we are. Love, when we look at it deeply, is not just something we feel or give, it is the very fabric of existence itself. It is the unseen thread that weaves together all things, connecting us to one another, to the earth, and to the cosmos. In many ways, love is the underlying energy that sustains the entire universe, an invisible force that runs through everything, binding all parts into a harmonious whole. The stars above us, the trees below us, the people around us, they are all expressions of the same essential force, love. To view love as the fabric of existence is to understand that it is not a mere emotion or a fleeting feeling. It is the essential nature of reality itself. Just as the fabric of a garment holds together the threads that form it, love holds together the vast expanse of life, from the smallest particle to the most expansive galaxy. It is the pulse that drives creation, the energy that flows through every living thing. Love, in this sense, is not a separate force that exists outside of us, but something that flows within us, around us, and through us. When we recognize love as the fabric of existence, we begin to see that it is present in every moment, in every interaction, and in every breath we take. It is in the wind that rustles through the leaves, the sun that warms our skin, and the gentle rhythm of our heartbeat. It is in the deep connections we share with others, the shared joy of laughter, and the silent understanding between friends and lovers. Love is everywhere, constantly shaping our lives, guiding our interactions, and reminding us of the interconnectedness of all things. This understanding invites us to shift our perspective, to move beyond seeing love as something that can be gained or lost, and instead to recognize that it is an inherent part of the fabric of who we are. We do not have to search for love as if it is something outside of us. Rather, we must awaken to the truth that we are love, always have been, always will be. Our very existence is an expression of love, and when we connect to this deeper truth, we begin to experience the world in a different way. When love is seen as the fabric of existence, we also come to understand that nothing is truly separate from us. The boundaries between self and other, between us and them, dissolve in the face of love. Every person, every animal, every plant, every rock, every star is made of the same energy. We are not isolated entities, but integral parts of a larger whole, and love is the thread that unites us. This realization calls us to move through the world with compassion, kindness, and humility, knowing that every action we take ripples through the fabric of existence, touching everything in its path. In this sense, love becomes not just a feeling or an action, but the very essence of life itself. It is the energy that animates us, the force that drives creation, and the connection that unites us with all of existence. Love is the fabric of the universe, and we are all a part of it. To live with this awareness is to live in harmony with the flow of life, to be in alignment with the very force that holds everything together. And in this alignment we find peace, purpose, and a deep sense of belonging in the vast tapestry of existence. Selfless love at first glance may seem paradoxical. How can love, which is often thought of as something personal, something that comes from the heart of the individual, be truly selfless? And yet, when we look more deeply, we begin to realize that the most profound form of love is indeed the one that arises without concern for the self. It is in this selfless love that we discover a deeper connection to both ourselves and others. The paradox lies in the fact that in giving ourselves fully, without reservation or expectation, we ultimately find a more profound fulfillment than if we were to seek fulfillment solely for our own benefit. When we love selflessly, we do not give from a place of obligation or duty. Rather, we give because love overflows from us naturally, unburdened by the need for recognition, reciprocation, or reward. This kind of love transcends the ego's demands. It asks for nothing in return, yet it is not devoid of joy or fulfillment. In fact, the more we give without expecting anything back, the more we find ourselves enriched by the experience. This is the paradox when we let go of the need to receive. We discover an abundance of love that is far greater than anything we could have gained by holding on. Selfless love also entails a deep sense of freedom. The ego often binds love, claiming it as its own, trying to define it, control it, or possess it. But selfless love is free from these constraints. It does not need to be defined or categorized. It simply is, flowing effortlessly from the heart. In this way, selfless love leads to freedom not just for the one receiving love, but also for the one giving it. By letting go of our need to hold on to love, to own it or shape it into something we can control, we release ourselves from the prison of self-centeredness and open ourselves to a broader, more expansive connection. Yet the paradox deepens when we realize that selfless love does not mean self-neglect. On the contrary, to love selflessly is to honor oneself fully. It is to recognize that in giving we are not diminishing ourselves but expanding our capacity to love. The more we give, the more we grow, and the more we become aligned with the true essence of who we are. This is the beauty of selfless love. It does not deplete us, it enhances us. In caring for others, we care for ourselves. In loving others, we come to love ourselves more deeply. The more we give, the more we receive, not in the sense of material gain, but in the sense of inner peace, contentment, and connection. To love selflessly is not to lose oneself, but to transcend the limits of the ego. It is to realize that love is not something that belongs to one person or is confined to one body. Love is a force that moves through all of us, uniting us with everything and everyone around us. The paradox of selfless love is that in letting go of the self, we find a deeper connection to both ourselves and the world around us. In embracing love without attachment, we become more fully who we truly are, part of the vast, interconnected web of life. The more we surrender ourselves to selfless love, the more we discover that love is not just an action or feeling, but the very essence of our being. And in this realization, we come to understand that selfless love is not a sacrifice, but a gateway to the truest and most fulfilling form of existence. Imagine compassion as a wave rising from the depths of the ocean of being, moving outward to touch everything in its path. It is an energy that flows endlessly, never running out, because it is connected to the boundless source of life itself. Just as a wave cannot exist without the ocean, compassion cannot exist without the interconnectedness of all beings. It arises naturally when we realize that we are not separate from one another, but part of a vast flowing current of existence. Each act of compassion, no matter how small, sends ripples through this ocean, touching lives in ways we may never fully comprehend. Compassion is not merely an emotion or a response to suffering, it is a deep recognition of our shared humanity. When we feel compassion for another, we are acknowledging that their pain is our pain, their joy is our joy. It is in this recognition that we find the power to act with kindness, to reach out, and to ease the burdens of others. Like the waves in the ocean, compassion rises and falls, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce, but always present, always moving forward. In the ocean of being, compassion does not discriminate. It flows freely, without preference, to all who need it. It does not ask for anything in return, for its nature is to give, to heal, and to connect. And yet, in this giving, compassion transforms not only those who receive it, but also those who offer it. It is through compassion that we find our own hearts opened, our own lives enriched. Each wave of compassion carries with it a deep sense of unity, reminding us that we are all part of the same ocean, all connected by the same currents of love and understanding. When we allow compassion to flow through us, we are contributing to the ocean of being, helping to create a world where suffering is met with understanding and joy is shared freely. Compassion is not a finite resource, but an infinite tide, rising from the depths of our shared existence and carrying us all toward greater unity. Love, in its truest sense, is an echo of something far greater, far more expansive than ourselves. It is the reverberation of the infinite, the expression of a boundless source that transcends time, space, and form. Just as an echo carries the sound of its origin across vast distances, love carries the essence of the infinite across the vastness of existence. It resounds in our hearts, our actions, and our relationships, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. When we feel love, it is as though we are hearing the faint yet unmistakable reverberation of something eternal, something that has no beginning or end. This echo of the infinite calls us to remember our true nature, to recognize that we are not isolated beings, separate from the world and each other, but expressions of a greater whole. Love is the force that binds us together, a current running through all of life, connecting the seen and the unseen, the known and the unknown. When we experience love, we are not simply feeling an emotion toward another, we are tapping into the pulse of the universe itself, a rhythm that flows through everything. Each act of love, whether large or small, is a reflection of this infinite source. It is the universe speaking to itself through us, reminding us that we are never alone, never truly separate. Love is not confined to any one moment or place. It is the echo of the eternal, vibrating through every aspect of life. Every connection we make, every act of kindness, every gesture of care is a note in the symphony of the infinite. The love we feel for others is but a shadow of the greater love that permeates all of existence. It is in the way the wind moves through the trees, the way the sun rises over the horizon, the way the stars shimmer in the night sky. Love, like the echo, resounds continuously, never ceasing, always present, always in motion. Yet the paradox is that although love is infinite, it is something we must actively listen to and nurture within ourselves. Just as an echo can only be heard when we are attuned to its presence, we must also tune our hearts to the frequency of love. This requires quieting the noise of our egos, releasing the distractions of fear, doubt, and separation, and simply being open to the flow of love that is always there. When we listen, truly listen, we can hear the echo of the infinite resonating through us, guiding us, reminding us that we are part of something much larger than our individual selves. To live with love as the echo of the infinite is to surrender to the idea that we are not the creators of love, but merely vessels through which it flows. It is a humbling realization that our capacity for love is not limited by our own minds or hearts, but is a reflection of the boundless, ever-present force of the universe. This love is always available to us, and the more we open ourselves to it, the more we hear its echo, the more we become its expression in the world. In this way, love becomes not something we seek, but something we allow to emerge naturally as we align ourselves with the infinite source from which it springs. Love as the echo of the infinite is not just a feeling, but a call to remember who we truly are and to live in harmony with the vast, unending flow of life. It is the most profound expression of our interconnectedness and the deepest truth of our existence.